can't take it anymore. Oh. Oh, I'm so sick of this thing. Oh. Oh, body work. Oh my God. Oh, so much. Oh. Oh, I can't do it. Oh my God. Oh, what? Guess who's back? Back again. Mobsters back. Spinning big end bearings. We still exist. We are still a thing. All the people that have been asking, not many people. If you did ask, you're a great person. You know who you are. Good on you. In the winter mode, this is what happens when you dedicate 6 months of body work. It just kicks your ass and you become a hippie because you get high on smelling like acetone and body filler and fiberglass resin and paint stripper. You just mellow the fuck out, man. Gotta keep it more real, man. It's just too crazy over there, man. Explaining this attire because I look pretty different in the previous video, probably. I would have thought. So, what's to go? Just not quite completely, but everything I've been doing almost is just body work. It's taken way too long. Next car I work on will not be a fiberglass car because it just takes so long to get anything right. Nothing fits, everything's wavy, redo everything, nothing's walk away, or nothing's sand and prime. It's just doesn't fit, make it fit, still doesn't fit, do it again, 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 that's still not right. It gets tiring. Kicked my ass. Anyway, so that's why there hasn't been many videos, and sadly I still haven't documented the bodywork that well, which is bad, but it's just really tiresome to do it. So I'll try and show you the best bits I can here and there, and then I guess that'll be a bit disappointing when you just see a big skip, but I've got bits, you'll get the general gist of it, and then I'll document blocking down the primed car. It's something to watch, I guess. People love watching sanding. What else can I say? Still a lot of things have been happening off behind the scenes though. Or behind the scenes, like there's been stuff going on the scenes anyway, but meanwhile, while body work has been happening, the car is basically almost ready to go back together once the body work is done. I'll prime it and paint the bay and the sills and stuff, and then it'll go back on the ground basically, which is the goal. The engine's ready to be reassembled, the supercharger has been reconditioned, the diff has been reconditioned with a new LSD put in it, so there's a fuel tank now. There's a lot of things going on, and all this is ahead of time of what has been happening, so I'll catch everything up when those videos arrive, so I don't think I'm going to miss too much. It should all still be documented. This is just kind of ahead of schedule compared to what the rest of the car is in the video line of things. But with all that being said, this car will get done. If it kills me, you'll see that last video of me probably jumping off a bridge. That might get us some views if we're lucky. Still probably won't. But so don't worry, the series hasn't been abandoned, as most fucking project cars that aren't done by big talented, definitely quotation mark, YouTubers are, so don't worry about that. I've got to stop saying I guess I'll cut back to where the next episode in the series is now, so this is just a little bit of crap from the future. Hope you enjoy the videos that are coming after this. There is still more, don't you worry. Oh, and one last thing. Cracken hoodies, not up for sale, but check it out, it's pretty good. If you want one, they might exist one day once there's, I know, some kind of audience. You can commemorate the coolest saw there ever is, besides your own person one, which you probably think is cooler, or this sick, mad, jumbo looking one that was made in Japan back in 1995. So, hey, it might be. It's in the top 10 if it's done. Willing to fight over that. But yeah, mad hoodies. Try and find a cooler shard bus related hoodie, unless there's nothing about a saw on it. So, yeah. Anyway, love yous. Welcome back to the Mobsters YouTube channel, everybody. Special video today. We've got some Supercharger goodies for you. So this one's got to be an absolute treat. Power time, baby. Absolute power time. Roll it. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to Mobsters. In this video, it's all about Supercharger power time, alright? We've got some goodies in these boxes. Let's open them up. First of all, keep that bit. Take it out of the bag. There we go. Check that bad boy out. So, what we got here is a Harrop LSA lid. So it's not your standard LSA lid, this thing has been upgraded. Our good friends over at Harrop have taken it upon themselves to make a better performance LSA lid than the standard. So the lid itself, there isn't a whole lot of differences. Still all the ports and sensor holes are in the same location. But at the front here we've got some big fuck off -16 fitting adapters ready to go on. And then we've also elected to go with an upgraded cooler core inside the lid. So this thing's 2.5 times bigger than the standard, or thicker, denser than the standard LSA lid. So the lid itself sits slightly higher as well. But this thing's gonna be just nuts. So this is kind of the perfect cherry on top for our LSA blower that we've got already, because that blower has already been ported on the intake runner and all the side porting as well. So that thing's about as good as an LSA lid, an LSA blower can get. And then this lid's just a little cherry on top, just to make it as maximally capable as an LSA blower can be. So that's our Harrop side of things. I'll show you what's in our Force Inductions box. The great people over at Force Inductions have hooked us up with one of their interchiller kits. And I mean hooked up, I mean we bought one. So that's what that looks like. You think, oh, it's not much, but it's going to be deceiving. So that's a interchiller. Water runs in one end, out the other. It's like a radiator, you could say. And then your AC lines out of what would run back into your cabin for your air conditioning, that runs into here and cools it that way. Instead of air, the AC cools it, and it can get real frosty. There's pictures on their website of this stuff like looking frozen, like it's been in a freezer. It's crazy. So that's that piece. On top of that, you've got a big fuck off water pump to move the water around the place. Big -16 fittings on this bad boy too. I gave the shirt. It's pretty cool. So I'll wear that. There we go. And then they've just got the other bits to run the whole AC system there. Little canister, a little bit of that. and some lines. I don't know if we'll end up using them, we'll find out. But yeah, now the tricky thing for us is to mount this all in the car, and there's not a whole lot of room left, but I think we can manage, but it's going to be a tricky one, so I'll show you what we're going to do. So as you can see, that beauty is on. Looks right at home. Of course it lines up because it's made for an LSA blower. It's been a while since everyone's seen in the engine bay, but she's come along. Whew. Damn, that's sexy. Damn. Alright, so lid's on. So, as you can see, as I've shown in a previous video, the blower lid doesn't let you close the bonnet. She's a bit tall, so I've got to cut a hole in it. So I've got my string line out there. I marked off 2 points at the back of the bonnet and then found the body line where it came to up here. And that was my start point, and then I string lined across to match that up with both measurements, and then worked forwards using squares, and hopefully it's all pretty accurate and essential. It looks good to me. I hope she's good. So I'm going to get the blower out from underneath, make sure I don't cut into it. But it's time to put a bloody hole in this bonnet. So we're going to get the angle grinder out, cut her up good, and see if that lets it poke through. And yeah. Well, hey, there we go, she's in. Here's your height. See how much she's poking out there. But yeah, no, looks pretty good. Not a bad cut. A few rough edges I'll have to neaten up, of course. But the blower can now poke through the lid. And we can continue with mounting stuff up now, which is really, really good. You can see my big fancy AN fittings on there. Big dash 16, fuck off boys. I got those specially anodized silver, because it's a bit of the theme going on with the car here. It isn't on its adapters yet. There will be a very important episode of that stuff in the not too distant future. But besides I might trim that back piece, there is definitely enough room for it to go up and forwards and whatnot, so there's still plenty of clearance in the bulge over there for anything to go upwards as well. So we're set up pretty well. I'm happy with it so far. It's looking good. I'll bring you down to the front and what we've got. So this MDF box that I've made here is representing at the meantime a template for an aluminium water tank that we're going to have. And the water tank is for the interchiller and the blower. Eventually it's meant to run up through the blower. That's how the blower gets cooled. That's how the air gets cooled. It gets sucked in. So it gets sucked in, gets fed up through the middle of the blower there, through the cooler brick with the water neck inlets go in and out of, and then around the sides and into the intake runners and into the head. So that's how that works. So this water tank here is going to be fed into the water pump, back into the interchiller, and out of the interchiller into that lid. So that's sitting at the front there. I've still in the works of making an aluminium one, but that's just showing up so I can start mocking stuff up. The interchiller itself, we're going to stick behind it here, something along the lines of that. positioning, but that's about right. I'm not sure if you can see it back there, but we also need an AC condenser as well for the whole system. So I've got an old nuggety one that hopefully we can either fix up, or maybe with a bit of luck we might be able to find a better one. But it will definitely do for mocking up stages. So I've got my cardboard aider design going on here to hold up the interchiller brick. Or yeah, brick unit. Interchiller itself. And so I've got a bracket coming down here and a bracket coming down here to try and support this one. Then I'm going to duplicate that bracket and bring it over to this side. This is a heavy little brick here. It's like 6.6 kilos, so it weighs an absolute ton. And so mounting this, once again, like my power steering over there, it's going to be quite interesting. So I'll start cutting up some brackets out of the metal on the left of me here, and we'll try and mount this bad boy to the front. Okay, let me explain the AC setup we're putting in to power the supercharger. So this is all exclusive AC stuff, and I'll use my little thumb here to point everything out. So over here we've got the factory AC condenser. We've managed to score one that is either, I think, pretty close to the factory one, so it mounts in the same spot, gets spun off a belt like factory. And then all the lines we got for it, though, are custom. So everything there is going to be custom. I didn't document this on the car well enough when it's all done. So when we put the motor back in, I'll go over everything and make sure I cover it. But for now, this will have to do. So you got my mad drawing. So we've got the AC over there. We've got the AC condenser here, which is a factory one, which we managed to score a nice one now, which is awesome. And that mounts in a factory position, basically. The air dryer over here is also basically a factory thing, but our one is part of the kit and doesn't mount in the factory spot. And then here we've got the interchiller, which is, this is just the AC side we're focusing on, but it has water getting fed into that side. But anyway,
that's our 4 components there. You got the condenser, the chiller, the dryer, and the compressor. So we had to make up the soft lines for it. They're basically made. I've still got to crimp them off, but the general gist of them has been run. So you've got a high fill point. Might have to tap in a pressure sensor to it, or I might have found out later that it doesn't need one. I can't recall, which I better check up on. That runs into the condenser. Of course, all the air flows through the condenser, which cools all the water lines to it. Then it runs down to the dryer here, which turns it back into a vapor basically. That runs into the brick itself, uses that vapor to cool the water for the supercharger itself, and then it flows back into the compressor and starts its process again. So that's pretty poorly explained, but that's the general gist of it. And that's, I had to draw that up to get an understanding of how I had to lay it out, because I'm not very educated on the AC stuff, as you can tell. Here's a big convoluted drawing, because once again, you got to map everything out when you got this much crap going on. Here's a convoluted drawing of all the stuff that's happening in the front of the car, basically for all the liquids, you could say, that we have to deal with here. So how do I break this down into simpler form for us? Not easy, I guess. But basically this is me just figuring out all the AN fittings I had to get. So I start up here, we'll go the supercharger stuff. So I've got my dash 16s for the lid itself, and then I've got fittings to get welded on to my water reservoir for the water system for the intercooler or the interchiller. So that's there. Then this actually moved its location, but the water pump itself, I needed 2 fittings for that as well. The interchiller needed some. They have special ones that are dash 12 to dash 16. So that's what those were for there. And then if you want to come over to our power steering side, I had adapters to the power steering cooler, needed adapters and then fittings off that. Then there was a special push lock fitting needed to go onto this one up here, up there, so on and so forth, like that. And that runs back up into the rack here, so it's got its fittings there. That's me explaining it there to myself, what I need, my shopping list. We're kind of figuring it out there, but I found how that worked, not too bad. Our oil system over here, so same thing, adapters to 90s, the oil filter there, and it's got a little, what would you call it, relocation bracket mount holder, and that has fittings in it, but we needed fittings to once again screw into there and screw into the adapter off the block. So yeah, you got to map everything out here, and of course the AccuSump itself and a T-piece there. And I said I've used the check valve and the filter instead of creating one here, so the oil always flows one direction. Hence One Direction song I should sing, but I don't know one well enough. Are you insecure? Don't know what for. Thumbs up. Yeah, so I saw a video a while ago back on Motive Videos channel, your boy Grub, talking about how you need to plan your routings and stuff. I bet you a million other people have done it, but it's definitely necessary. I didn't think it at the time, but yeah, I needed to go over this. And the sad thing is you can still get stuff wrong. You're like, oh, I think I'll need this angle. It turns out you need a different angle, but it's important to try and get as many figured out so you're not having to rebuy many. And that's just a really important thing when it comes to mapping out, so you're saving yourself time. So that's what I had to do here, and that's it, badly explained. Briefly here, this is my little water tank for the water system for the blower lid. It's water cooled, and this is the tank that replaces my crash bar at the front of the car. I wanted to use that space, and it sits nicely behind the bumper there. Easy to access once you just whip the bumper off with my quick latches. So my space, my sizing for it, I'm pretty sure this is my final size in the end of it, of what it ended up being. Capacity, just under 6 litres. Ideally you'd want 12, but this should still be more than enough. And it just kind of means when there's less water, it just means the water temp itself will be higher, because it's not spread out amongst a big enough load. but it should still get pretty darn cold because it's got the interchiller system cooling it all with the AC. So yeah.